What's up and welcome back, guys, to another episode of the What's Up podcast. I'm here on a Monday night and I have the very fortunate pleasure of having a guest on here who is very well versed in the Warriors realm of knowledge and a long time fan for sure. I want to welcome in Brad Inger from the Ingers League wrap up and also the Standoff, is that right? Yes. Yep. On the New Zealand Sport Radio. Brad, welcome in, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me on. I'm looking forward to the chat.
Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, so guys, we're gonna kind of start off with actually just doing a little bit of bio. I know Brad's done a lot of this stuff already. He's been on a few podcasts. It's not his first radios for sure. So, but I'd love to hear your experience around the Warriors and other spaces, and then we're going to get into the review of the Titans. We'll break that down, what both our thoughts are on the game. Then we're going to do podium, the 3-2-1, and then we'll also preview the Tigers game coming up this Saturday in Hamilton. So we'll get into it, guys, and we'll get this one started. Okay, guys. Brad, man. Thanks for coming on the podcast. Really do appreciate it. First off, man, just wanted to kind of ask you how you became a fan of the mighty One New Zealand Warriors now.
Traditional story. A day oneer due to my age. My grandparents on my mother's side were big leagueies. They went on tours following the Kiwis all around the UK and. Wow. My granddad was into Wigan, which is why I'm a Wigan Warriors supporter, and he was a supporter of Balmain. And I went away. I was a Doggies fan until the Warriors kicked up, and then once we had our own team in our own country, I just kind of gravitated towards that. And in the early days, as a youngin, my nana would take me to games, and then basically big borrowed and stealed my parents to let me go whenever I could until I think 2005 I finally had a job and I got a season ticket and I've had it ever since. Started with my mate Richie, who I do the Standoff with on Wednesdays.
Yep.
We got them together and then he abandoned me and went to Wellington, and I kept his ticket and just keep going. So I've got 2 seats now, and usually have a roster of people that come when the Warriors are doing good, and when they're doing bad, I go on my own and enjoy 2 seats.
Yeah, just spread out. So you've had a few times where it's like you're on an airplane when no one's sitting next to you kind of vibe.
I've been to games where my entire row was empty except for me, in the real bad days. But
yep. Legit, man.
No room anymore, which is great.
Yep. Oh man, if you don't mind me, how old are you, bro? Don't ask.
36, I think. 36 or 37.
Oh, we're the same age, pretty much. Cool. Yeah, because I was wondering, I kind of got into the Warriors around that same time. Kind of, I kind of liked the Raiders. I loosely liked a few teams, but players really. But yeah, once the Warriors came in as well, man. What was your favorite, I suppose, era, or maybe even a player as well that you really gravitated towards back in the day?
I think it's that golden era, around the 2002s.
Yeah.
That brings a lot of memories. But my favorite all-time Warrior is Palestina.
Yeah, man.
As a former front rower, I kind of gravitate towards front rowers, but he.
Yep.
Just the way he played was always worth watching, and I know there's a lot of better players out there, but he's just one that I always gravitated to.
Man, imagine those knees in today's game, eh? You just wouldn't want to get near them.
Oh yeah.
He probably would have done a few sideline stints though, but he was awesome, man.
I think so.
Yeah, he would have done a few suspensions for those. Oh man, that's just iconic, the Palestinian run. Man, absolutely. And I suppose kind of what you're doing now in the space, the journalism space, and how long have you been kind of doing that, and have you studied for it, or you just sort of kind of gravitated towards it?
I feel like I'm one of the old timers. I think I started weekly writing reviews of each game back in 2016.
Wow.
And just doing it in a lot. Most of the years I've been doing it, it's been tough with the Warriors not doing well. But I kind of just started on my own accord. I was always writing notes for myself, and then I had Richie again was like, you should just put it on the internet somewhere. Had no idea how to do it, and then found a way, and it kind of just kept going. No education in it really until I did a correspondence course on freelance sports journalism a few years back to kind of try to help me get into a position where I get paid to do it. Hasn't worked out yet, but keep pushing around, and I just enjoy doing it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. It's good stuff, man. I read your articles all the time, and just nice summaries. I love your summaries of the game. Really do think it's good. And I've caught a little bit of the show you guys do, the Standoff. I do enjoy hearing. I just enjoy, actually, man. Really, I just enjoy hearing everyone, all the Warriors content out there, because you just get there's moments during the week. If it's been a really good game, someone will drop a podcast on a Monday, and you're like, okay, Tuesday, who's going to do something next? And you see something pop up, and you're like, okay, yep, sweet, I'll listen to that. So I think everyone's got really good stuff.
There's a lot out there, and I think the fact that we don't get as much coverage in the traditional media, especially when the going gets tough, people like you and everyone else that's doing it have really just filled that space. And I'm the same. I absorb all of it.
Yep. Yeah, man. I think I've enjoyed doing it. Honestly, bro, the only reason I really do it is just to meet people or other Warriors fans. Where are you from, man? Are you from Auckland?
Originally from Manurewa.
Yep. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and spent some time down in the Waikato to do high school and stuff.
Cool.
In the Thames Valley, I should say.
Nice.
And then came back to Auckland to work and stuff like that. So
sweet, yeah, man, yeah, cool. Yeah, I'm in Hamilton at the moment, actually, and but there's just been times where I've just felt lonely, over the few years. So, but really, this year's just been like, I suppose doing the content stuff has been good, but it's also like, okay, I just need some friends to talk Warriors stuff with, and it's been awesome, man. I just really appreciate everyone accommodating me and just letting me do my thing. But appreciate that, man. Thanks for sharing that, and probably get into a bit more of your stuff later on if you don't mind. But we'll get into the review anyway of the Titans game right now, guys, and we'll just get that one going. Okay, guys. Yeah, I think the final score was 28-18 on an amazing turnout of our fan base. Just so loud, I can hear it through the TV. What a turnout by the GC fans! Shout out to all everyone, Warrior Nation, Richie, Ruin Hammond, all the people that went out there on Friday night to support our boys. A mixed kind of bag, I suppose. Everyone's kind of trying to understand it, coming from being third place and going up against a team that was 12 men for almost 60 minutes. I think people got a little bit of PTSD. There's mixed reviews. Brother, how did you break that one down, man? What was your thoughts after that one?
Yeah, I was a bit critical at first, and this year's kind of made me a bit more optimistic overall. I'm looking at all these. It's the cliche. There's no such thing as an easy game in the NRL, and you kind of know. You go, yeah, but there are a few easy games. But then like the Tigers beat the Panthers. The Cowboys were on a roll until they lost to the Titans last week, and having that one, you're a bit more versed with the technical side of things, but losing that player in the middle, it is a bit harder. But with that much time, you adjust to having one less player. So
yeah,
and I feel like it pushes the opposition. So like the Warriors in this case, sometimes they push their luck a bit too much because they have in their head that there's an extra man.
Yeah, agreed.
And that leads to errors, which is what we saw. I think if they sort the errors out, they're a very hard team to stop. But at the moment, they're hitting double figures almost every week in errors, which is a massive concern for me.
Yeah.
But I think it's just another lesson. These games don't really have much in stakes. The Warriors are kind of set nicely on the ladder, so it's all about learning the little things before finals. Not the greatest performance, but I'm much rather bad performances with wins than what we used to, which is just bad losses.
Yeah, we've done that before too many times. Yeah, I'm with you, man. The errors were just timely is not the word because you don't want them to have, but when they did happen, it was like we were ascending and about to do something good. The Metcalf overrun of Walker, that was like almost, how we've been hitting tries back-to-back sets sometimes, that was going to be another one, and probably would have put another big dent into but just missed opportunities, knock-ons, loose carries galore. It was real interesting. How much do you equate that to, I suppose, the Titans? And I suppose there's a bit of the hair pulling, the head highs. Do you think they got underneath our skin a little bit there?
Yeah, in my review I put out today, I kind of mentioned that. I think the Titans came in with a game plan of, I don't want to say being grubby, but just agitating the Warriors, and it worked. I've seen it. I keep saying that's a beautiful tactic against the Broncos if the Warriors face them in the finals. If they can get under Reece Walsh's skin, the Broncos kind of implode a bit. And that's kind of what we saw for the Warriors. The players were kind of biting a bit at anything the Titans were doing. And it's hard to say just brush it off and focus on the game, because if you're in that situation, it's a bit tough. But it was definitely a game plan I think the Titans pulled in. And they didn't get the win, but I think they got a lot closer than they probably should have if they weren't pulling us into the trenches.
Yeah, I think they pulled the refs into the trenches too. Cummins just couldn't get control. I really thought that the sin binning of New Quarry was a tool to try and seize control again, more than so New Quarry did something worthy of a sin bin. But and even you kind of see how influential the bunker is. It's like almost deadly. It can almost kill games. Casey Badger, and I'm not being sexist, I just thought she was just off with some of her interpretations and excessive. That one by what was it, Fafita and New Quarter, that could have just been pulled aside and say, hey guys, let's settle this one, and they pull the captains in and just say, hey, we need to settle this down, otherwise you're both going, that type of thing. Other than that, but what did you make of, I suppose, what were you feeling when you saw the Jaden Campbell intercept and it went to 18, or a bit of PTSD come back in?
And then hearing the commentators talk about it, looked like there was a bit of a knock on and the bunker didn't go back and look and things like that. It was like, it felt like the days of old where it was like, we sometimes have a victim mentality as Warriors fans and go, the world's against us. And I did still feel confident going, this Warriors team, that back 20, they kind of control. So as long as they're within reach, either just slightly ahead or just slightly behind, I kind of have faith that they're gonna pull out a couple of tries in like that last quarter. And we saw that here. But seeing Jaden run that length of the field, it's like that could be something that just breaks the confidence in the boys. Thankfully, that wasn't the case though.
Yeah, that was a good sign, that it didn't break the confidence, especially our senior players. I noticed the last shift was Tohu, Adden, and the original, like the starting front row, and I thought they did settle the game down and they just worked that Tohu try for me was summed it up, like it just needed to go back to basics, and I thought that was really, really pivotal. But obviously, what did you make of? There were some lineups that I've done a bit of analysis, but there were some lineups that felt like we were a little bit light and couldn't cope with a lot of their outside backs, especially Jaden Campbell. Did you feel some of, what did you think of the Jazz replacing Bunty thing? Did you kind of think it was the right move upon reflection?
I didn't mind it upon reflection. Originally, I thought Sirenen would be the one. He felt like the more like for like, but they were using Jazz traditionally in Bunty's role. And I love Bunty, but something's happening. I don't know if it's with Bunty or with how Webby wants to use him, but I feel we haven't really been seeing what we expect from him this year.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I think you're going to get the same out of Jazz if you replace him in that role. So I don't mind it as long as Jazz is there. And I guess Sirenen still has that utility where he's a better dummy half than Jazz is. So
yeah,
Bunty's unfortunately the one left out. But
yeah. I think Sirenen is better. There was one pass Jazz did from dummy half and it was kind of high, I think, for Sean. I can't remember, but it looked like it was a bit off. But yeah, I suppose that's you want to keep Jazz and doing what he's best at. Probably what did you make of? I suppose the Titans, you got to acknowledge them. What did you make of their effort? 12 men down. I thought Jaden Campbell was just unreal, really. And actually, shout out to Tane Tuopiki as well. The smaller guys winning, the speed gamers beating the bigger men. Yeah, what did you make of that?
Yeah, I thought I had a lot of praise for the Titans. As I said earlier about that game plan they stuck to it. They had every chance to throw in the towel after losing Fotueka, but they didn't. They just kept plugging away, and it was just I thought at moments they really dominated the middle. Even though I talked in my review today about some of the stats, the Warriors forwards tuned out some big meters, but there was a lot of times where the Titans really controlled that middle and created problems, which was massive considering one of their better front rowers was out. Both, if you count Big Tino as well. But yeah, I thought they were thoroughly impressive. Jaden Campbell is a real big talent.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, he's going to be something special. And yeah, Tane, I know he was 18th man and they prepare for the game, but how often does the 18th man get used? Not that often. So, in the back of their head, they're like, well, I'm not going to play. And then 16 minutes in to get pulled in and say you're playing. I thought he was a bit... There was a few clunky passes to start off with, and then once he got into the groove, it looked like he belonged. Just looked like he was part of the original roster that got named. So very impressed with what he did, and hopefully he's a player that they can manage to keep around.
Man, I would love to have him around, absolutely. I just was impressed with him, and it's a different style to seeing KA, like it's a more snipier, elusive type, finding little gaps between tacklers and stuff like that. It was real cool to watch, actually. And, I mean, I love seeing K as well, especially with our structured defence and stuff. I think that try that Fafita got, maybe seeing K gets another forward into that spot instead of. But that's it's stuff you will learn for the kid, and I'm really impressed with our depth that they've all come in. Volkman, Lussick at times, they've all come in and just done a job. I think we've got really good, solid depth, man. I really do rate it, But just credit to the whole staff and the system, man. Cool, man. Any other thoughts from that game that you want to talk about?
No, just it wasn't their best performance, but I'm just happy that a bad performance, they can still walk away with a 10-point win. So it's I think you mentioned it a little bit last week on Rowan Hammer's show about like the difference in performances are getting closer and closer. So there's still stuff to work on, and the fact that Webster in the post-match said that he already knew right away the issues and the players did too. So it's not like the boys are sitting there on their own planet going, who cares, we won. They know exactly what they need to do to be better, which is all you can ask for a team that you want to keep building for the finals.
Yeah, and it's about building. Like, I know, man, some comments I can't read them, man. But some people like, that was the worst. We should have been. There's a team fight. We should have been by 50. I was like, guys, it doesn't happen sometimes, and that's not even that easy to do that. So it's like you said at the start, man. You got to credit every team, and they're hungry too. The Titans they want to get in that final spot. They're fighting, so that plays a big role as well. I think it was good to kind of for us like. Just get a win like that, and actually I think like you said, Webby will analyse it, and the boys know too. Like that's more important. Is like that they know, okay, we know what we need to work on. So now, I think just take what you can out of the lessons that you can from that game, and move forward. So yeah, that's I'm with you, bro. I'm happy with you. I'm happy I'm not talking to someone that's saying that was absolute rubbish. We didn't deserve to be in the top 8. I'm hearing people say this stuff. I'm like, you guys are just, oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, we'll go on to the next part, man. We'll do the podium now. Okay, the gold, silver, and bronze, man. Who do you give your gold medal to for that game?
I gave it to SJ.
Yeah.
I think I did put in my review today. I think the Warriors walk away with a loss if he wasn't out there. Yeah. I think you mentioned it in some of your clips today and yesterday about some of the moments he could have taken advantage of that he didn't, but the ones that he did became points. That first try almost came out of nowhere for the idiot front rower that I am. And then that second try, he set it all up for Dallin, and Dallin flicking that offload back. The fact that Sean didn't just put him into space and go, off you go, son. He stayed up with the play. And yeah, his kicks, there was a lot to like from his performance. And, he got to fend off Fafita, which not many of the halfbacks get to say.
That's beautiful way, like the set up foreign and then dummy and then switch hands, bang, and then like even hold the weight, because he had to kind of lean over and then just, man, he's physically in good shape and mentally, and like you said, man, following through with Dallin, I was kind of watching him thinking, man, he could have just held up there, thinking Dallin could have got caught, but you saw him just push through to see if there was an opportunity. And what a ball, man. That was just beautiful. I think the best part was that last 20A, man, especially after they scored. I just saw him put those kicks in, man, and got repeat sets, and I was just like, okay, he's really just locking this one down. He's just pretty much taking over and saying, nah, you're not. And he kind of figured out that kick on the fourth, no fullback. Did Campbell go to the edges or something? Because there was that other fella at the back. Did you notice that?
I did notice, but I wasn't really sure if that was just a defensive switch, that maybe they were trying to, keep Campbell out of the fray in the middle. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that could have been actually, you're right, yeah. Yeah, I think because they were playing all 12 on the line pretty much, so they probably wanted to push Campbell out and use that other guy. Is it Keno? I don't know his name. But yeah, that was just brilliant by Sean. And that last kick, man, just amazing. But, mate, you got him in a Dally. I'm in the dead serious Dally M conversations here. What's your thoughts?
I think he's head and shoulders above everyone else at the moment. Yep. All the other guys that were in talks either missed games with injury or origin, and Sean, every week he's been playing, and even on his days where he wasn't as good, you had to think he was at least getting 1 or 2 points. So he has to be it this year, which I think is just a fantastic story for, I think, a lot of us at the start of the year didn't hold out a lot of hope for what Sean would do this year.
Yep.
I had an optimistic take in my preview. I said that I thought he'd bounce back with a guy like Tamari Martin there with him.
Yep.
But to be, talking a Dally M contender was never anything I would be bullish enough to predict.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Just it's an amazing story. It's an amazing story for any player to never give up. And I think credit to him. I think it's him. Like, obviously Webster's a coach that can motivate or push the right buttons, but you have to be able to individually want to do it. And just to see his efforts, man, is just insane. And just so mature. And like, I agree with you, because if you think about most of the games, you can go through nearly every game, and Sean has played a big part in terms of icing the game. The Raiders, the drop goal, that Bulldogs first game where he scored the try, the 65th minute I think it was, or whatever it was. And you go through every game and Sean's played a big part. So I'm with you, man. Who have you got in your silver, man?
This one was a bit of a controversial take, judging by some of the people on my socials, but I went with Jackson Ford.
Yep.
Some people weren't happy because of the Jaden Campbell try, but him getting the ball on the last tackle is not really his fault. So
I think Montoya was in front of him anyway. Hey,
he was, yeah. So it was a unfortunate thing that happened. But I think everywhere else, he's been one of the biggest surprises for me this year. I think it was on a show I did with Rowan Hammer last year when he recently got announced, and we all kind of were making fun of him because I'm known as being a very staunch anti-Dragons guy. So anyone that's from the Dragons, I don't give a lot of credit to. And I saw him as a New South Wales Cup signing guy. And he's done nothing but impress from the moment I watched him live in that trial against the Tigers. It's like there's something here. I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed him. I think what Metcalf can actually build off is just build off of him and just feed him. Like Webby says, he's a workhorse, bro. You just keep giving him the ball, drop him underneath or short ball, whatever it is. I mean, he does have a few errors, we know that, but at the same time, the amount of work he does defensively, he's a competitor. I thought that bomb that he took, remember the bomb that he took in the last, was it 10 minutes or something? It was like, who's going to catch us? And he's like, okay, I'll grab it. But I thought that was like actually quite pivotal. If that ball falls down, you don't know what's going to happen. So I thought that was a big one. But that line underneath where he scored the try was wicked, because if you think about it, he has to cut back inside and then he quickly moves back out to create that space. The SJ is just a really good line, man. He's a quality player. I'd like to see him work with Metcalf. I think it's kind of there, but kind of not. And obviously, look, Sean's able to access that side when he needs to, and it's nice to see him and Sean get a few touches. But man, I'm with you, bro. I wouldn't. Yeah, I know people are not clued on sometimes to what some of these guys are really doing, man. So I'm with you on Jackson Ford there for sure. Who you got in your bronze, brother?
My last one, I went with Egan.
Yep.
I just really like what Egan does. He's really picking his moments when he wants to run the ball, and he just keeps that middle defence second guessing. Which when they're doing that, it opens up spaces for Sean to do what Sean does, and it's just all as great as Sean's been going. I think Wade Egan has gone head and shoulders above what we all expected from him. Besides a front rower. Everyone was always screaming that the Warriors need a hooker, and you don't hear that anymore. So, and he was great in here. He's kind of got rid of his silly passes he used to do, and he's just very intelligent. He just knows what to do and when to do it. Yeah.
Do you think he's like kind of done a lot of film study over the whole? He just transformed himself. I know. Some other people were more clued on to him than I was, that's for sure. But you feel like he's kind of just taking a step up each season. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think he does a lot of off-field work. Don't know the guy, so I can't say it 100%. But he just seems like that switched-on type of guy, and I think he just needed a coach that had confidence in him, which is something they've all said about Webby. He's just come in and backs the players to do what they do, and confidence helps. It just kind of makes everything linked together, and I think we've seen that with pretty much the entire roster having their best year ever.
No, man. I think that man Egan deserved that try assist. Well, wasn't his try assist. It would have been Walker's try assist. But that break that he made, split the marker. Dummy the what's it? The one where they go across the ruck. He sucked that guy out to that side, came back inside, drew the other A defender over, and then put walk. Man, it was beautiful, bro. Like that's just next level hookers and stuff, man. It was a shame he can get the props for that one, but I'm with you, man. I think he does a lot of work, bro, and he does a lot. I mean, even with his kind of HIA system thing that's going on. He's the first point of contact a lot of the time, and he's holding up, man. He's holding up. I just want to hope that he can stay healthy coming home, because you said it. Sean wouldn't have as great a years if it wasn't for Egan. The passes he puts on a dime, He gets Sean the ball exactly where he needs it. That's a big part for a halfback, to get the ball exactly where he needs it to be able to function and do the stuff he does. So, and I'm totally with you, man. Okay, that wraps up the podium, guys. We're just going to move on now to a bit of a preview for the Warriors v Tigers coming up this Saturday. Okay, guys, Warriors v Tigers coming up this Saturday. We don't have a team list. Obviously, they'll come out tomorrow. I suppose if I would like to talk about the bench rotation, and do we see a spot for Bunty coming into this game, or do we move maybe one of Sirinen or Curran off to accommodate Bunty, or is it literally just Bunty might miss out on moving forward if this is the lineup?
I think it's going to stay the same. I think the only change we're going to see is Tane at fullback.
Yeah.
I've been confident with team namings a lot this year and been off the mark, so time will tell. But I think it goes back to, I think Jazz is doing the same as what Bunty was doing, so they'll just keep the like for like. But yeah, who knows? Whatever Webster chooses, I back him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same 17.
Were you happy with Barnett's starting role? Do you think that suits him, or do you prefer him kind of off the bench impact?
Originally, at the start of the year, I had him as a starting prop, but I do think since returning from his injury, I think he has been providing more of an impact coming off the bench. So yep. I'd be happy to switch it around. In that case, I would probably have Bunty in there. Yep. I'd rather Bunty starting at front row than if they threw Jazz out there to start it. But
yep.
Yeah, it's hard to tell. It depends what they're going to do with Mitchell. If they want to make him the front rower, him having big minutes at the start does kind of help the interchange later on. But
yeah, it's like a big puzzle way. And I remember at the start of the season we were like, the first 20 was real bad, I think, and then the middles was great, and then we'd be having patches of really good starts, and then the middles drop off. It's just you kind of figure out like the pieces where they fit, and I suppose if you are going to play Barnett, then you're going to get more impact later on in maybe the back end of the first half, that type of thing. So I'm with you, man. I think it's just up to Webb. I think he's really clued on. I like that the guys are buying in. You don't really hear any murmuring of sorts saying, what. I think everyone's really chipped in, and you need that to win a competition, man. You need everyone on the same page. I suppose 2-0 Picky coming back in. Do you see him kind of? I know he got a few first receiver touches on the blind side. Do you think he kind of, if he does, he pretty much will play. Do you think he kind of develops that as a link player a bit more?
I think so. I think because he's, like you said earlier, he's a different kettle of fish to Chance, and he's just got speed. So I think you'll see him in that link, hopefully, just to create spacing. Which, if they can create spacing against the Tigers, Montoya and Dallin will have a field day. But yeah, I can see him just running off the back of Sean or Luke, depending on what side he's going to run, and could be a great day for him.
Yeah, cool, man. I think it will be a pretty good day. I mean, obviously we're expecting an improved performance. If you're thinking of an area that you would, you really want to try and nail this week in terms of even a stat or a style of play, what would that be?
It's just respect for the ball. Just get those errors down. Single-digit errors, I think, is what we want to see consistently for the rest of the regular season. It's sometimes errors happen, but a lot of the ones recently are the Warriors just pushing it. They'll push a pass when they don't need to, or they'll try to go wide early without earning the right to, and things like that. If they take a breath, stick to the game plan, they'll get those errors down again, like we saw at the beginning of the year when they were having high completion rates and low errors. Yeah, I thought, what was it, the Raiders game, the completions came back up, I think it was. Yeah. But now it's dropped back down. So, yeah, that fluctuation, you just want to kind of level that out a bit. Defensively, do you think we'll pretty much
get tighter again? We weren't too loose, but I mean there was some challenges dealing with the likes of Sami last week and Campbell. You think we need to do anything defensively around the middles or the edges to work on?
Yeah, it always needs working. I think their defense has been so much better than what we've been used to for forever. It feels like. Yeah. But yeah, there always seems to be the occasion. I fall victim to it too because I used to be a forward, so I always blame the wingers for all the points scored on the edges. But there's someone in the middle that hasn't done their job right, and it just flows on as you go further out. And yeah, I think they just got to. It's communication. Defense. I was never a fan of it as a player. It had to be done, but it was always tough. But they're getting better. I think it's with the changes coming in and people returning. I think we'll see it get a bit better. It's just communication's key. When they have that brief little breakdown, that's when we see teams take advantage on the edges. Yep. And yeah, Dallon's just got to learn that the sideline's your friend in those cases.
Yeah, just hang out there, bro. Just shadow the Pereiras of the world. I suppose the other talking point is Metcalf. Another mixed bag. I thought the Raiders game was probably one of his worst. That's what I was talking about with Ruin Ham about the difference between his best and worst, and I suppose it's still kind of fluctuating quite a bit. Yeah. What do you want him to kind of try and work on, or how can we kind of get a bit more of a leveled, consistent performance from the guy?
I think it's just time with him.
Yeah.
He's still very young. This is really his first stint being a regular first grader ever. So it's just getting used to what he can and can't do. It's a different player, but I'll bring up like Reece Walsh. You think of Reece Walsh when he was with the Warriors. When no one knew what he was head and shoulders above everyone. But then once everyone kind of figured him out, and he was having those troughs and valleys, he had some real bad games. And then you look at him now after he's learned. So I think we're getting that with Luke. There'll be some troughs and valleys. I think once he gets a bit more confidence in what he is able to do, and he kind of chances his arm at the right moments and takes some pressure off Sean, you'll see him start to build a bit more. At the moment, I feel like he goes into a shell if something goes wrong and just relies on Sean to do everything, because I don't know if he's intimidated to make a mistake or what, but that's all just being a youngster.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, confidence, eh? Confidence is huge for him, because you can tell that forward pass, there was a Tom Brady to Randy Moss.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous. I was like, and you can see the guys at the back, Walker and Sean, were just, what the heck are you doing, bro? But that's because of confidence, not trusting your ability to do the right thing at the right time. And just that, and when you don't have confidence, it eats up time and space, and you see a lot of his movements. He's taking up other people's space a lot of the time.
Yeah,
especially forward and even Pompey. And I think that can be a bit of a frustration it can trickle on down to Montoya, not getting as much touches and getting the ball at the right places. So that does have an impact. I think for him, I do agree with you, time under stress, under duress will help him. And I think the peaks and valleys of his performances, the valley was the pass to Toru, but that peak was that chip and chase try that nearly, if the bounce is the right way, the individual tries of the season, So if that's going to be the peak, well, I'll take those risks with him. But just like you said, be a bit more level-headed moving forward. Totally agree with you, my man. I suppose if we don't mind looking at the Tigers, I mean, I've watched a little bit of them. Haven't watched much recently. What do you make of? I mean, they had a close one there against the Raiders. What do you make of that one?
That one, I've been a big advocate of the Tigers just because it's been tough. 3 or 4 years now, even more. And on our show, we review all the games, and I think the ongoing theme for the last few years of the Tigers is they're not good, but they just get stuck in, and they're trying. It's not like they're going out and just getting pasted every week. They really know how to get into the grittiness of the game and make it hard for a team to beat them. 9 times out of 10, they're going to walk away as losers, but it's not going to be an easy day. So I am a bit nervous whenever we face them, because you just don't know if it's going to be that 1 out of 10 where they're just going to get everything right. I don't see it happening this weekend, but they're not a team you can take lightly, despite being dead last. They've only had 3 wins this year, but it was against the Cowboys, the Panthers, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head, but none of them were easy beat teams, so they can get it done. I just hope to see success come sometime for them.
Yeah, that's what
Just
I always
not this
wanted
week.
for the Warriors. It's not this week. Yeah, just save it for another time. That's what I always wanted for the Warriors, was to be, even though we were crap, but a team that absolutely frustrated you. But that never kind of eventuated. It was sometimes mostly the opposite. But yeah, you always have to be wary of those teams, and I have a soft spot for them as well. I would like to see them go on and do well. I think being fellow cellar dwellers with them, you want to get out of that quagmire of a position. So I'm with you, man. I don't think we should take this lightly. I don't think we should have any mental lapses. They can put on points. They can score. They can defend. What have you made of some of the like the Dream Bullers? That him and another kid that could probably cause us issues. What have you made of his season so far?
Buller's been fantastic. He just seems like a player that the Tigers are gonna lose, because that's what they do. If you look at the players that they've had, that they've just let walk out that door, I'm hoping that he's got the right people around him, and he doesn't just chase money elsewhere. Don't say you have to be a Tiger for life, but do the hard yards, and I think it's selling the dream. I guess we see it a lot with the Warriors. You want to be in that team that started at the bottom and got better. So I'm hoping someone's there for him. Api Carousel, with him back, he's kind of key to everything. I know Papali'i was a big name, and he's not hitting the heights he did at Parramatta, but I think he's still performing better than what he did in the last few years with the Warriors. So they got some dangerous players there. Bateman as well. If Bateman and Papali'i decide they really want to compete, they can make it hard for the Warriors pack, that's for sure.
Who's that prop that played Origin for them? What's his name? Is he playing? Is he healthy?
I'm not sure if he's healthy or not.
I forgot his name.
I know who you mean.
No, it's not Ikamanu, is
it?
No, Ikaman's the other one. Is it him? Yeah. But yeah, he's a terror as well in the middle. I think I'm not too sure who they've got at the moment. But Bateman's a big one, man. Is Bateman on New Cordes' side?
I think he will be.
Yeah.
I think. Oh no, he's on right side. It'll be Papali'i.
Oh, he's on the right side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet. Because nearly every game, Bateman grabs someone by the collar. Like I have this running bet. Like, okay, I bet you Bateman will grab someone like by the collar. But again, it could be another just thing to be wary of, getting under our skin. You always have antagonists and instigators in teams. But yeah, do you see kind of how the Tigers might try and play this one? Do you think they're kind of a grinded out team, or are they more of a push the ball? I know a lot of teams will try and push the ball at this stage of the season because there's not much happening for them.
Yeah. So
that could be kind of tricky for us. What do you see as their game plan roughly?
I think they're going to try to take it up the middle. I think they'll use the likes of Clemmer and that.
Clemmer, yep.
To try to suck the Warriors into a grind fest and go if we can focus them in the middle, we can stop them using guys like Dallin out on the edges. That's what I do if I was a coach. I'm not one, but I think if you try to focus the Warriors on battling up the middle, I guess you could try to tire them out, which we know the Warriors don't really do that anymore. So, but spreading it wide, I think they'll just get towed up if they spread wide too early and make mistakes like the Warriors have been doing the past few years, or past few weeks. Sorry, they I think the Warriors would just run rampant on them. So yeah, I'm expecting a big tough battle in the middle.
Cool. Yeah, I think there's definitely, like, I think the Titans they did push the pass a little bit too early, and you can see it was on, but then they made errors, so that is kind of the risk you take, and like totally agree with you. Can I get a score prediction from you, bro, and probably a man of the match who you might have in that spot?
I think I said they would win. The Warriors would win by 18.
Yep.
I'm not good with maths, so I can't think of an actual number.
It's all good.
Say anywhere between 30 and 40. I think they'll do. And player of the match, I will go with. I'll go with Luke. I'll give Luke a bounce back.
Oh, that's a nice one.
Luke Metcalf. We'll say he'll have a bit of fun in Hamilton.
That's a good one, man. I like that one. I just wanted to ask you about this points against. I've got this thing in my head that I want to be like the Panthers, and in this next couple of runs, I don't want to leak anything more than 12 points. I was a bit disappointed when Jaden Campbell got that try to make it 18. But do you kind of want us? Do you think it's going to be a similar thing, or do you just think it's going to be really hard this year, end of the season, to contain teams? Or do you think we should really be trying to keep that scoring against us limited as much as possible?
I think that has to be the goal. With I know everyone's talking across the ditch is that the Warriors don't play any top 8 teams to end the season. I've got a conspiracy theory about it that the NRL, they made the draw easy games at the end of the year, so to speak, and mostly in New Zealand, because they're like, at that point of the year the Warriors aren't playing finals. Let's give them a nice final month just staying in New Zealand so they don't have to travel, which hasn't worked out. But I think that's got to be the key. You want to keep that position, and you don't want to be one of those teams that are winning games like the Titans where they'll win 32-30, things like that. You want to be going in and hitting 20 or 30 points yourself, but maybe conceding 12. That has to be the goal. Say, give themselves a messy point of conceding one try a half as a goal. And if they do that in these final 4 or 5 weeks, I think defensively it puts them in the right space for finals.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I that's what I've been thinking about too. I haven't really been worrying about the points. And that's a shock for how many years we've had where we couldn't even get past them in 14 points. Or we couldn't score 3 tries a game for the last couple of 5 years. So we've come a long way offensively. But yeah, I'm with you, man. Attack wise, we've got to just really limit, and I think stranglehold these teams and just let them know you're not going to score on us. Look, man, looking ahead, we've got obviously the Tigers. It's nearly going. I think it's going to fly by these next couple of weeks. I really do think it's going to just move really quickly, and we're going to be in a finals talking pretty much. But we've got the Tigers, Seagulls, Dragons, and Dolphins. Do you see any kind of banana skin games again? Or I know the Seagulls will be playing hard to try and win a top 8 spot. Maybe in that situation, the Dolphins will try and spoil things. They're a solid team. They're always. Dragons are, I think, going through a lot, but. What do you make of that last run home? Anything that you can see that we might slip up on?
Yeah, the 2 games I was concerned about were the Titans and Manly. Just Titans seem to have our number the past few seasons, and Manly, they don't have Tommy Turbo, but you got DCE and a few talented players there, and when they're on, and they're still fighting. I don't know if they're completely out of being a top 8 contender yet. I'm not sure. I'm just going to quickly look at the ladder to make sure. But,
absolutely.
Yeah, they're on 25 points, so you could probably say that they are out of the equation. But they'll still be trying. So yeah, they're probably the toughest match left. Dragons, I give no respect to them. They are a team that knows how to beat the Warriors. They've done it a lot in our history.
Yeah,
but,
I hate those bugs. Yep.
I think it's going to be the last home game of the regular season, at least for the Warriors. So they'll be looking to put on a show. So I'm comfortable with that. And the Dolphins, the last game, the Dolphins are tricky, but I think, as a lot of people have kind of expected, as the season went on, they were going to kind of fall away, which I think we're going to see. Yep. I don't think it's going to be a landslide victory, but they should get that. But yeah, Manly's really the only concern. But there's still a bit of that pessimist Warriors fan in me from a few years ago, where you could go, shit, we could lose all of these games knowing the Warriors. But yeah, it's a different mentality within the club now. So I feel like they, as long as they don't get ahead of themselves, they should be fine. They just, it's the cliche, go week to week.
Yeah, I like that. I like that week to week mentality. It actually grounds you. I think that's what Webby's been able to do, is ground the guys. I think you're right. Just take it week to week, and just go through what they're doing, their weekly processes. It's been working, man. You know, it's just been an insane turnaround. I want to actually ask you, bro, like, what do you make of this season, and kind of from where we've come from, and like you said, to know that we do have the odd PTSD, but it kind of feels really calm and relaxed, knowing that we can beat teams below us at least. We've struggled with a few of the top four, that's fine, but how has it been for you, man, as a fan?
Yeah, it's been a big adjustment. We did a big preseason preview with Ruin Hammer, and I had the Warriors finishing the season 10th, and I was happy. 10th, finishing 10th, I was like, that'd be fantastic. But we went round by round. Where do you think you're going to win? In the first 10 rounds, I think I had us 1 win, 9 losses.
That was true though.
That was just looking at the round and going, like, after that it gets easier and they'll get some wins together. But they completely. I had questions around Webster when he was first announced, and then I think it was, I don't know who did the interview with him first, if it was Ruin Hammer or This Warrior's Life. One of those two had an interview with him, and after hearing him, I was like, okay, I'm on board. Give him a year to sort things out, and then 2024, then we can start trying to be a top 8 team. Webster didn't want to wait, so it's just anyone. I know some people predicted that they were going to go really well this year, but just off the history and the unknown of Webster at that time, it was looking at top 8, and now we're talking, we'd be disappointed if they fell out of the top 4, which if you told me that at the beginning of the year, I would have been blown away.
Yeah, it's funny. I found he's the most transparent and clear Warriors coach since probably Daniel Anderson, or even Ivan to an extent was quite closed-knitted, although he's an amazing coach. It's really weird having a coach that you kind of, not like Kearney, where you had to try and decipher what he was trying to say, and then Brown, kind of closed lip. And I just feel real, like you said, like listening to the guy, you can just imagine it as a player. Like, you feel really confident that he believes in you and what he says is true. And I think that's his gift is clarity, communication. The media press conferences after the game are just really awesome. Like, I've never had a Warriors season where I've understood clearly what a coach is trying to do. Even from, I think we could probably all agree with the Dylan Walker substitutions at the 20-minute mark. You kind of know what the coach is trying to achieve here, and it's just really a nice eye opener. But man, I was the same. I was kind of pessimistic. The only thing I trusted was like, okay, an assistant coach from a good system's worked before, and I'm hoping that was the case. And man, just pleasantly surprised. I just want to hit you up with, look, finals is. I think it's good to talk about finals situations, even though we're not there yet. Anything can happen. But like, coming up against, let's say, a Broncos, how would you feel about where we're going and where they're going at the moment? And could you see us kind of doing well against them in a, say, 2 versus 3 matchup?
I think so. My biggest, I think, after the game this past week against the Titans, I was kind of getting the mood that I want the Warriors to lose the first week, because the Warriors are rusty when they have a week off. It was like, I'd rather them have to play the whole finals. That's very pessimistic, I know, but I think at the moment the only one I'd be really ahhing on if the Warriors could beat them is the Panthers, because the Panthers are experienced. But I think Bronx, you get under Reece Walsh's skin. It'll be the first time he ever plays the Warriors too. I think you could dismantle them a bit. The Storm, I get laughed about it, but we're undefeated against the Storm in finals. We haven't played them a lot, but we got their number. Panthers. Every team, you just have to be at your very best. If you're at your best, you can get them. But they've just been there, done that. But Broncos, I think they're a decent shot as long as they do everything right, which is what finals is all about. You can't half-ass it. You've got to get all your X's and O's in the right order. They're not as intimidating as they would have been a couple of weeks ago, in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we can get under the Broncos. We have in recent, in history, our success at Suncorp is really good. Even with our fan base, travelling away as well. I think the next thing I'm trying to think of is, I suppose, I think I kind of agree with you actually, going with losing that first week and then kind of I think we haven't. That was my thought. We haven't taken advantage of the new system. If you remember, I think in 2011 we played in the old system, and I think that was the last year they did it. And then the pattern is that not many teams from outside between 5 and 8 have really won a competition. I suppose that that's why it's so important to get a top 4. But we haven't experienced that as a fan base yet. We haven't even experienced a home semi since 2008, I believe, which is insane. It's nearly 15 years. So you got to do it for the fans, and I think we, like you said, even if we go into that 2 and 3 matchup, we lose it, we come home, we reset, mate. That's just going to be insane. To get a home semi at home for nearly 15 years would be ridiculous, and well due, because we just have been starved of it. What do you think a home semi would do for us, man? In terms of imagine a home prelim. Do you agree with the Eden Park thing, or do you stick with the Mount Smart?
I stick with Mount Smart because I hate Eden Park almost as much as I hate the Dragons. I feel you're too far away from the action. It's an absolute pain in the ass to get there. When the Warriors, they went through that period where they would take one game a year to Eden Park, and I think the first year our car got towed. The second year we went by train and we got there at half time, even though we left like 5 hours before kickoff. And then I think the third year we did park again, but we parked like a 40-minute walk away from the stadium just to make sure no one would take our car. And it's just a pain in the ass. But I suppose that's 18 years ago into Mount Smart, where you can park just down the road and walk up the hill. You kind of have that luxury, so you're used to it, but it's not in the Warriors' control. I think we talked about it on our show, that the NRL kind of controls where those finals are played. So they kind of, I think they talked about Penrith last year. They got one final at Bluebet, and then they had to go to the big stadium for the second one. So even the Panthers get that tar with that brush, but that's because the NRL make money off it, so they want as many people as they can. So I understand it, but I would rather it go to Wellington, to be honest. I'd rather drive 6-7 hours than have to go to Eden Park. But if it's there, I'm going. I'll be grumpy about it, but I'll be there because that last home final was electric, being there in person. And yeah, it's just a massive advantage the Warriors would get, making that another team come all the way over here and play. You know how it feels like almost every game over there is a home game anyway now.
Yeah, man.
With all the work those fans are doing going to the games, but yeah, wherever it's played in Auckland, well, it's wherever they took it. It's a massive advantage as long as all the fans come, and so far this year that's what they've been doing. So yeah, I'm a lot more confident in their finals possibilities than I would have ever imagined at the moment.
Absolutely. It's weird that it's a year forecasted. Even myself, I forecasted 24 as the right, but there is a window here, and we need to take it with take it by the horns and nail it as much as we can. Meaning, even if a second on the ladder is available, we've got to take it. If the Broncos do drop a few, but doesn't look likely, but still, just be in that position that if it's there, take it. What have you made of? Are you in the east stand or the west stand?
I'm in the west stand.
Okay, cool. Yep.
Yeah.
What's the deal with the west and east? Like people say, east is more. Is there any kind of beef happening over there, or just different?
It's
different
just
vibe
different,
on each side.
Different vibe, I think. When they built up the east stand to make it the stadium, or the stand it is now, because when I started going, it was still only one tier, and they built the second tier on. The club got a lot of members to move to that side, so that's kind of the Warriors side of the field. That's where they come out and all that. And then the idiots like me were like, no, we're staying in our seats because they're ours.
Yeah.
Then the only thing I think is they upgraded all the seats in the East Stand. You see the pretty blue seats that you see on TV, but because that's camera facing. But the West Stand where I sit is away from the camera, so they've still got their crappy old seats. That are old and cracked and all that. Hopefully they give us an upgrade there, but I don't think there's a lot of beef. I think it's when the Warriors are winning, everyone's kind of happy. So as long as they've got people in seats, they don't really care. But you do get a few more on our side, the away team fans. That's kind of where they get their tickets. So it's interesting. But I like being behind the bench, so that's why I'm there. I like seeing what they're doing and why players are coming on and when they're coming on. It helps with my writing too, but originally I just liked seeing that, and if someone got injured you kind of could assess what was going on. So that's why I stay there. But
cool, man. How have you found the attendances this year in terms of I suppose more casuals obviously coming on the bandwagon, and even at the stadium? How have you found the vibe at the stadium to the games that you've been this year? Was it pumping from the start, or was it kind of just like over time it's built up to what it is now? I
think it did take a little bit to build. Like, it was pumping in Wellington for that first round. I drove down for it, and then I think the first home game at Mount Smart there was a bit of buzz because it was the first one back and the Warriors were doing okay. And then I'd say by the second or third home game, when people were like, it's not just a flash in the pan, the Warriors are actually doing good. They just came and it's just been cranking. A week, 2 weeks before the game, you can't get a ticket. I think the game in Hamilton's all sold out now too.
I heard it is.
And it's just a great atmosphere. I think the only bad one was that Rabbitohs game. Because of the weather. That one in the Roosters, when there was horrible weather to sit in, the crowd wasn't really into it because you're just sitting there just waiting for the game to be over because the weather's terrible. But all the others, just electric. Which hasn't been like that since since that prelim final, but that first game back after COVID.
That was a big one.
That was a big one too. But before that, it was that prelim game where it was packed out. And that's just credit to how they're playing and the Warriors in general. They got one of the hottest teams in the country right now, and they're not trying to up their prices to make some extra bob. They're focused on filling the stadium rather than filling their pockets, which they're making money. Don't get me wrong. It's not like they're doing it for charity, but
yeah.
you're not paying like $100 to sit there. So the pricing's affordable, and that means more people can come. So hopefully they stick with that when they look at their season ticket prices next year.
Yep.
So they don't take too much money off me. But it's one of the best places to go. I haven't gone to a lot of places in Australia, but I've been to NFL games in America and things, and I still can't beat the atmosphere at home at Mount Smart. It's just not as many people, but they know how to make noise, and no better place to be.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And just before we wrap up, I just wanted to see. I know you're doing your writing and the live you do with Richie. That's awesome, man. And I've had a chance to talk to Richie sometimes, and I see your guys' work. You kind of got. You're going to just continue kind of doing this, or is there kind of things that I suppose you probably want to develop, maybe even with your journalism? What's the plans for you moving forward in terms of this space? Yeah,
ideally getting paid to write would be good.
Yep.
But that's just chugging away, and doing the show. It was just a chance meeting that it happened. Paul, who runs New Zealand Sports Radio, he had an idea when COVID happened and Radio Sport went under. He was like, I want to do something which is kind of like that, and he had shows every night of the week for every sport, and everyone else, I guess other things happen in life and you can't keep doing it, and it's basically just him doing his rugby union stuff and us doing the league stuff now, because we love talking about leagues. So it's an hour out of our week to do the show, a bit more time prep work that I do to get us ready, but there's just so many other guys doing stuff on YouTube and stuff, and I wouldn't even know where to start. I think eventually I'd like to do some more videos on my own, away from the Standoff. Potentially, getting guys like you on to just do like what we're doing here. But at the moment, with so much there's not a need to do it, so it's more a luxury if I want to do that. And my missus, she's not happy with the amount of time I dedicate to league as it is. So
I know what you mean, brother.
Basically Thursday to Sunday watching league, she's off in the corner. She makes me work for it in the off season, but I want to do more. It's just finding the time to do it at the moment. It is,
man. It is about time, eh? And finding a thing. Like, I don't know, for me, I just do the analysis stuff because I used to watch. I know you're a football fan, but I used to have the NFL League Pass. Because I'm a 49ers fan, so I should hate you because you beat us in 2011. But no, that's all good. But yeah, I used to watch League Pass, and they had that all 22 footage, and you can watch like the bird's eye view.
Yep.
You can watch the plays and break down, and I was into that for a little while, and so I just started doing what I'm doing, but and that's just grown. But it's just like, I think finding your spot and niche. But I never think there's it's never closed off in my eyes. I don't really ever think that. I think there's the fan base, especially our fan base and rugby league fan base in general. I think it's very open to more content, and I think the likes of the Bloke, Levels, all those guys have opened the market up for literally everyone to find a space, and it's cool, man. It's I think I hardly ever watch anything Fox does or the mainstream stuff. I'm usually always on the podcasts, finding anything Warriors or NRL, and literally I'm watching listening to the Waffle Boys, and their approach is so different, a bit more hard out to me maybe. I'm listening to the Anonymous Boys, whatever. So I think there's a space for everyone, man. And and your guys' stuff anyway, while you're doing it, is awesome. But man, just hit us up with your socials. Where can we find you for anyone that may be interested in finding more of your content?
Yeah, so it's Inca's League Wrap Up on Facebook, and I think in all the other places it's just Brad Inga 3. Yep. That goes to Twitter and Insta and all that, and New Zealand Sport Radio is where we do the Standoff. It's on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. It's usually an hour. I don't think we've hit the hour mark in some time. I think we're pretty much closer to 2 hours now.
Cool.
But that's my stuff is Warriors focused, my writing in that, and then the Standoff looks at everything for the NRL,
cool.
And a little bit of Super League at the end.
Nice.
So it gives a bit more of NRL focus as opposed to just the Warriors, because
cool. Yep.
You guys do it so well. So we look at the other teams and just try to give our opinion on it. It's not as analytical as what you'll get from elsewhere, but there's usually some hot takes from me saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. So. It's always good for a laugh.
Yeah, we all got to watch out, man. yeah, we all got to watch out for what we say sometimes. No, man, cool, man. Thank you for sharing. I do appreciate you coming on, brother. And I know, for me, like I said, it's just about meeting other people. I was a lonely Warriors fan for so many years and getting bullied. But now I just feel emboldened to wear my jersey when I can. And but no, I just appreciate meeting you and I look forward to doing some more stuff with you in the future.
Yeah, definitely.
And just thanks for your time. I really do appreciate it, man. And we'll keep in touch. And obviously we're gonna enjoy this ride in the last 4 weeks before we hit the finals, man. But thanks, guys, for listening. Again, catch Brad's show on Wednesday nights on New Zealand Sport Radio. The Standoff. Him and Richie do a really good job. 8 p.m. Guys, hit that one for another more of your Warriors content and NRL content, and obviously his website and his stuff on Instagram, Twitter. Go there, guys. It's really good stuff. But thanks, man. Okay, we're going to wrap that one up, guys, and we'll catch you guys next week. Peace. Up the Waz.